what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Brothers in Tech is a weekly podcast focused on personal and home technology, helping provide you, our fellow brothers and sisters in tech, with some information, assistance, and recommendations. Hello and welcome to Brothers in Tech here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. To my right on the video screen is Brian Jackson, who is in all actuality my brother. We talk technology. We thought it'd be clever to come up with a show called Brothers in Tech because that's what I just described, and that's why we're here. So, Brian, how's it going?
And I am also the one that is obviously not completely exhausted right now, as I can tell you.
Low energy level, low.
Yeah,
my little battery recharging light is flashing at the moment.
This is very much an AM radio start to this podcast.
Today we're going to talk technology. How can it help you in your home, your family, your personal life? And that is
I'm
why
really
we're
excited
here.
to be here, Alan. I'm really excited to be here.
Good. I'm so happy, Brian. Thanks.
I'm good.
Brian and I talk
I think
technology.
I'm a little better than you are right now, but I'm good.
It's just been a very, very long day, and
it's okay.
It's been a long week. I'm tired. I went to bed last night at 10 o'clock, which is really early for me.
Yeah. Very early.
That's also because I had to get up at like 5. Another long day today. So it's a lot. It is my own doing. I have nobody to blame. I have nobody to complain about it. It's me.
True.
Is crazy projects I told people yes to months and months ago and thought, oh, surely these projects won't all happen at the same time where I'm going to have to work on these. So the chances of that are slim to nothing. But this is fun. This is a fun way to cap off the end of the day, Brian. So I look forward.
Good. I was hoping you'd get to that point. I was waiting. I was waiting for the but I'm happy to be here.
No, I'm very happy to be here.
Good. Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here. We are talking technology. Brian and I get together about once a week or so, and we talk personal technology, home technology. We talk, sometimes it's home automation. Sometimes it's productivity with technology. Sometimes it's just cool gadgets and devices and things we're playing with or trying out. And every time we get together, we typically have a general topic or a couple topics to discuss, or sometimes we go into recommendations. Today, I think we're gonna do some recommendations. We're going to talk about some recommended tech, but we have, it sounds like maybe a couple stories to go along with our recommendations. And Brian, I have not heard your story other than you just described to me over text and said, I think I have a story to talk about. And you used the word, unfortunately, I have a story to share.
Yes.
I'm in the same boat. I have a story to share as well. And mine also has an unfortunate ending to it. so how about
so this is not going to make our day any better, is what you're saying.
It's not
unless
this
is
is
therapy.
Spirits. No,
this is therapy, right?
I'm hoping I will feel better about this after it's done. I hope you will feel the same.
Yeah.
Maybe sharing it with the world is what we need to feel better. But let's do that. And so how about you and I both share our story, and also we can kind of set up and lead into a recommendation of something we want to share.
Yeah, let's end on some positive notes, shall we?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Let's get our stories out, and then we'll try to end with some positive vibes, some suggestions for people.
And Brian, I didn't even think to ask. I mean, is your story at all tech related? Because if it's just going to be complaining about something else going on, I'm like, well, I don't know if this is the right format for that, but that's fine.
No, that I can connect it to technology.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine.
Close enough. Right.
As long as there's at least a thread of a connection there, that's fine.
No, there is.
Mine is all technology based, and but
okay.
I don't know. You want to
start?
To go first? Yeah, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Tell me what's going on, Brian. Tell me, the therapy session is open.
All right. I'm gonna calm down a second and try to unload here. Okay. So actually, Alan, we've done an episode in the past. I don't know if you remember. We've done hundreds of episodes, but we did an episode on technology scamming, phishing, scammers, right? And how they're using technology to try to take advantage of you in a number of different ways. We've talked about email scams, and we've talked about specifically what I want to talk to you about today is about selling scams, right? We also talked about how to sell online and, ways that you can use Marketplace and Craigslist and eBay and all these things. So we've had episodes on that. So I would encourage everybody, after I go through my my frustrating story here, that you might want to go back if this scares you at all. You might want to go back and listen to the previous podcasts that we've had on scams and on kind of internet getting taken advantage of. Because I think what you'll find is that everything I went through, if I would have listened to my own suggestions all the way through of that previous episode, then this would not have been that big of an issue. But yeah, there we go. So let's talk. So here's so one of the things I've been doing lately is I'm selling a lot of photography gear. I think I told you this a while back that I was helping a friend out to sell a lot of photography gear that she inherited, and I've been doing that now for over a year. Wow. Still have some things that I'm selling, but I'm also now selling some of my own camera gear because I decided to switch and upgrade my camera to a mirrorless camera, which again is something else we've talked about with technology. Okay.
Was that recent, Brian? Did you get that mirrorless camera a while back?
No, I got a fairly recent. It's been probably 2 or 3 weeks.
I
know we talked about mirrorless a long time ago when we talked about photography, but no, this is my first mirrorless switch from a full frame to a mirrorless. And okay, so actually I probably should tell you that first. So here's a positive note on the whole selling, right? So I've been posting things on Facebook Marketplace. I found that that's actually a really effective way of selling. It reaches a lot of people. We have talked about some challenges with that, right? Is that you put it out there and you're going to get pestered with lots of email or lots of text messages or messages through Messenger. But as I mentioned in the previous time when we talked about this, I'm a big believer in that works as long as you keep your guardrails in place. One of my guardrails is I only communicate with you via Messenger. So Facebook Messenger, right? Okay. So I'll get tons of junk, but at least in a Messenger, you can quickly say, nope, junk, right? Block. And they don't have your own contact information. So
something tells me, Brian, that the story is going to lead in a direction where Brian is now engaging with someone outside of the Facebook Messenger app. Is that the lead up I'm getting here? The vibe
there is a part of that. There is a part that in there, but that's not necessarily the bad part. So I'll go a little further. So I've had some success selling some equipment. I sold my actual camera, right, which was great. Sold it to someone, I think, in Texas. They bought it and communicated with me on Messenger, say I'd love to have it. Now, I say this because this particular sale was unique, but in a positive way. That person said, hey, I really want it. I'm not haggling with you. The price sounds fine. I'll pay for shipping. Right. You just tell me what the shipping is. I'll pay for it. I'd like it to come, to me, fairly quickly if possible. So, let me know what the options are for shipping and I will send you the money. So I reach out or I go out and find what the prepaid shipping label would be to ship this to them. Let him know. He says, great. What's your PayPal? I sent him my PayPal email address and he sent me the money and there wasn't even any sort of fallback. It was like, he sent me the money. The money came through on PayPal and I was like, oh, okay. You're not holding it back. You're not like saying, I will pay you. Here's the money. So I sent it to him. He was super happy, got it. All good. Everything was wonderful. Right. Wow. And again, that's something you don't normally see where someone's like Venmo, right? Someone won't normally say, hey, by the way, here's the money via Venmo. Please ship it to me now. Right. Because how do they know? But I'm just going to say, thank you. See you later. Right. So that one happened that way. Unusual. Right. But that was fine. So fast forward about a week after that, and I was selling a lens. Okay, a really nice lens, big lens, and had it on Marketplace. This person reached out on Messenger and said, I'm really interested in the lens. I I see though that what let's see. What did he say? I'm interested in the lens. Is it still available? I responded like, yes, still available. But I always look at the person's profile and I see that they're not local. Well, I had not put this one on for shipping. I put it on for local sale only. Right.
Okay.
So I see this person's in, I think it was Florida. And I said, hey, well, I even looked, I said, where are you? Hoping they would respond. And he said, and he looks and he responded, he said, oh crap, I just looked at the post. Yeah, you're in Oregon, I'm in Florida. And he said, would you consider shipping? And I was like, I'll consider it. I said, I didn't want to ship something this nice because that would do a lot of packing and therefore, a lot of issues with it. And he said, if you're willing to ship, I'd be willing to pay for the shipping. So this is mirroring the same thing that the other guy had said. Right.
Okay. All right. And
I said, I'm fine doing that. And he said, I would love, if all possible, to get it as quickly as I could. I'd even be willing to pay overnight, depending on what the cost of it are. So I'm assuming he's a photographer or someone that wants to use this pretty quickly. So I said, okay, well, I'm working all day today. I can go tomorrow afternoon. This was on a last Thursday. I can go tomorrow afternoon right as I get out of work, and I can ship it at that time if that works. And he said, okay, that's fine. And I said, all right. So here was the thing, right? I said, I'm going to go to UPS to ship this. I need to know that you're going to be available at the time I go to UPS, because I don't want to walk up there, find out the prices, and be sitting there waiting and not knowing if you're going to say yes or not, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I can be available at that time. And he said, and here's my cell phone number in case you'd rather, to make sure you get in touch with me. Like, okay. Great.
This is still sounding pretty good.
It's all sounded good, right? Still through Messenger. And I even sent him a note on his cell. Of course, that gives him my cell. But at that point, I'm thinking, okay, this seems pretty legit. So I sent him a text and said, hey, I'm getting ready to head to ship this. And so what happened was later that day, I actually got off work a little early and realized I could go make UPS that same day, which is what he wanted originally. So I sent him a note and said, hey, I'm heading to UPS now. Are you available that you could, respond and send me the money before I ship? And he said, yep, I'm here. I said, great. So I drive to UPS, right? Get up to UPS. I've already got it in a box, but I tell them, I'd rather you repack it. You guys pack it up for me because this person's willing to pay for it. I said, can you give me the options? She gave me like 3 options. And I said, well, he actually is asking about overnight. And she's like, well, it's Thursday. Today's already gone out. It's going out tomorrow. It's weekend, so it'd get there Monday. So I said, hey, it would get there Monday. And he said, what about overnight? I said, well, I went back to her and she said, oh, well, there is a Saturday, but it's, it's $150 to send it for overnight to Saturday. So I responded, I said, hey, I could get it there by Saturday, but it's $150. And he said, would you insure it? Okay, good question, right? I said, well, insurance is $2.50 per 100. This lens I'm selling to is like $600. He said, but another $15 and I'll insure it for like $600.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can do that. So 100, he said, so like 170 ? On top. And I said, yes, on top of the lens. So the lens, altogether is like $700 something.
Yeah.
And I said, here's my PayPal, email address. And here was questionable thing number 1 that I should have noted, right? Which I didn't think about. He said, it's a whole lot easier if you'll just request from me. Here's my email address. Okay. Rather than just popping it over. Right. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe it's true. I haven't done enough of it to know like if it's easier for him to send it and then have to confirm, or is it easier for me to request and him just to say yes? So I did the request on PayPal, said $775, whatever, to this person's email address, request. And I'm waiting. I'm looking at PayPal. Nothing. So I sent him a note. And by the way, here's the other trick of this whole thing, which I don't know how he would have known, but it certainly played into his favor. It was 10 minutes till close time at UPS. The lady is standing there looking at me going, we need to close. I need to know, like, what do you want to do? I'll go ahead and repack it and pack it up for you and get everything ready. You just let me know. And I said, well, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I said, I'm just waiting for the money. And I said, I haven't gotten it yet. And he said, you should have. I've already submitted it. He said, they're holding it. I said, okay. And then here's the other thing that screwed me over is I have my email set up as at certain times of the day, I have it so that it comes up as notifications, right? Like, here's new email. Well, as I'm looking at PayPal, here's a new email that comes in that says, PayPal, you've been given money. So I pull up the email and it says, so-and-so has sent you this money. We're holding it, and we're holding it until we get tracking information or something like that, right? Which is fairly standard with PayPal. The beauty of PayPal is if you do it right through PayPal, PayPal has a way that, Alan, if I sell you something, you go on PayPal, put the money, and you say it's for a sale. Right. It doesn't give me any money until I put in the tracking number and the tracking shows that it's been delivered, right?
Yes, I've been selling a fair bit of things on PayPal recently.
Yeah.
So yes, very familiar.
So I get an email, and Alan, if you want, let me share real quick with you, just so people can kind of see a little bit of what's happening.
I want to see how authentic this email looks.
Well, and also realize I was in a rush. So so the first thing I'm going to show you is here's the PayPal. Right. Okay. So this PayPal, this Holy Redeemer.
This is you
thing,
requesting the money. Yep.
So I requested the money, and you can still see it says request sent. Yep. Right. And this was to an email address. Right.
Yep.
Okay. So this was what I was getting. And of course, I was sitting there refreshing, and I was saying, hey, I'm not seeing it. Right. Then I get the notice that says email. Let me show you the email. Okay. And the email looks like this, which of course is a little bit wonky. Right. But anyway, I'm reading quickly the email, and it's got the email address for that person. It's got mine. It's got the transaction ID. It's got the address. It's got the information and the amount. Right. So, of course, I screwed up and said, okay, great. I went ahead. I paid for the shipping. They took the box, and on we go. Right. So I said to him, okay, here we go. And he says, here's the other thing, right? They're getting really smart. Okay. His response was, please send me a picture of the box that you put it in. Because I did put it in. I said, she repacked the box, and she did a pretty crappy job. I said, she taped it and everything. I said, tape, but it's packed well. He said, yeah, send me a picture of that. I want to make sure that it's what I'm getting or something, or that it's packed well. And what did he also say? Send me the tracking number, something. So I took a picture of the receipt that showed just that I had paid and that it was, here's the tracking number. So I leave. They close the gate on the door right away. Like as I leave, they're done, right? They close. So I go, and I'm driving over to run a different errand. And as I'm going, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Okay, let me pull PayPal back up again. And of course, with PayPal, I had not done this where I'd request before. Yeah. And I wasn't sure whether that request pending meant they're holding the money. So, of course, if we go back over here.
You go back to PayPal, and it's not showing. It's still showing the request.
It has not done anything different, right? It's still showing request sent, pending. Yeah. Now, the pending part was what confused me, right? Because I've had these before, and it'll say like pending money or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so here's where I respond back and say, wait, I still am not showing anything on PayPal. I said, can you send me the image on your PayPal that shows that you have put the money in, right? And then I get this response that's kind of crazy, right? You would think at that point, maybe like, I don't know, they ghost me.
I would have thought they ghost you at that point.
He leaned in. His response was, wait a minute, are you serious? Are you scamming me? Right? Like he comes at me. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
I have not gotten any notification of the money. And I said, and now I'm looking at the email closer. So let me go back to the email, right? Now you picked it up right away. And of course, when I look at it now, it can see right away. But here's one of the things, right? Take a look at the email, the payment from, right? So if I'm just going to press and hold on it.
Yeah.
Completely different email, right?
Yeah.
So that's not even the email that he.
So what we were describing here, Brian's showing is you have an email address in the email that's listed as a certain address, but if you actually click on it or pop up on it to see it, it actually is a different email address embedded behind the address. So that's a telltale sign right there that's not good. Yeah.
The other thing is the transaction ID is not the same as a transaction ID that I have from UPS, right? Or not from UPS, from PayPal, right? Because this would have been a PayPal thing, right? Supposedly. So anyway, so then I'm livid, right? I'm like, hey, what's the deal? And of course, he's again coming at me going, what are you talking about? What's happening? And then he said something like that. I said, and it's by email and it's asking me to send a tracking. Why would that be? He's like, why wouldn't you just send the tracking? I think he even said like, what could be the harm in that or something, right? Why don't you just confirm it and then we'll, see where the issue is or something. Like he's leaning into this thing, right?
Wow.
So of course I'm thinking, well, what does tracking do? But of course it doesn't matter at that point. At that point, I realized this has gone badly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's my saving grace. They had just closed the gate. Shipping was not going out that night.
Right.
So the next morning I go and I'm there at 7:45 waiting for them to open up at 8. And right as I walk in, of course, everything's stacked up in the back. And I said, I've been scammed. And she's like, oh my gosh, let's take it, reimburse you. All was good, right? I got reimbursed, not a big deal, just incredibly frustrated, right?
Sure.
That it happened. But now I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, what are all the things that were done smartly by the scammer to really try to sell this thing, right? One was ship it overnight. And I started thinking, if you ship it overnight, one, that convinces me that this person wants to pay money, which shouldn't be part of the scam, and they don't want any opportunity for you to second guess it, right? So like if it was a week-long shipping and I realized 2 days later, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that, I could cancel it, right? They want it overnight because they don't want any opportunity for you to second guess yourself.
It was smart for them to do that, to insist on or to ask for the overnight and offer to pay for it. That was smart because most people would look at that as, well, that's pretty committed. They seem to be legit. They're willing to pay more money. But they're preying on that. They know that will look that way. But you're right. There is the ulterior motive of less time for somebody to back out of this.
Well, in both of those, right? Both of those things are very smart on their part to try to take advantage of it. The other part is giving me a cell phone text number that worked, right? It's one thing to say like, hey, give me your cell phone. He never asked for my cell phone.
Right.
He just said, here you go in case you need to get a hold of me. Sounded great, right?
That was good.
Also, the idea, if he was asking, can you insure it? Like what scammer would want it insured, right? But yet that kind of gives me more confidence. He wants to make sure it was packed correctly.
Yep. I was going to say that was a nice little touch. Just using the PayPal system of, sending a request or having you send the request. That kind of makes sense as well. That seems like a clear way to do it. They used all the options that would make somebody feel comfortable with this process.
Yep.
The one thing, and Brian, I get it. You were in line. I know you're reading emails quickly. It's you're just trying to get verification because time is of the essence here. The one thing that I think they did not pull off as successfully was that email, because somebody sitting at home comfortably reading, having time to read it and look at it,
would be
could have started to pick out some things that were a little fishy with it.
That's right.
That's when it would have tipped me off. But again, I wasn't in your shoes. I get it. I feel pretty certain I probably would have been a little more hurried and may have missed that as well. So that was
the thing, right? The hurry, which played in his favor. I don't think he knew that I was, going to be at the end of the day, right? But I think the idea of, here you go, right? You're at UPS, right? That's the other thing maybe I could see, is that if he asked for overnight, well, when you ask for overnight, there's no way that I'm going to know what to tell him how much that's going to cost unless I go to UPS. So now they've gotten me committed to going to the store, which means there's going to be this pressure of, hey, I'm in line. I just have this. Here's the number. Do you want to do that? As opposed to, like, if he just said ship it, Well, I actually, for the other ones, I use the online. I'll go and do like Shipping Nerd or one of those that says, here it is. I print the label. But you can't do that for overnight. You can't go and say, like, I'm going to do $180, whatever. So there was a lot of pieces that kind of played in. And especially he even asked for PayPal, which I understand now why he did. But originally he's like, hey, I'd rather do PayPal because that saves both of us. That protects both of us. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. PayPal does protect both of us, right? So luckily I caught it, but I feel like a complete moron because I know I've gone through this before, right?
But you caught it. You did catch it. I mean, you caught it, just in the nick of time and realized what was going on. And I tell you, scammers are getting good. They're really getting good. I mean, really you and I talked about this as an episode probably a year and a half ago, something like that. I don't know. I tell you, I get emails all the time that I know are scam emails, but I'll tell you, they are first glance. I can see, I'm like, I could totally see how I could fall for this and others could fall for this very, very easily.
Yep.
You combine that with the fact that we're talking about, large purchases, large sales between people, and they played all the right. I mean, I'm just imagining people, there's just a group of them that are sitting there and they've got, multiple of these engagements going on all the time.
Yep.
All throughout the day. They know the little checklist of things to say and what to ask for and what things to offer and just to make it appealing. They also know, I mean, just understand too, for anybody listening out there, these are people that play a numbers game. They know that they may be trying to scam at any given time, 50 people. They're going to try to get at least one of them to work. And that's a benefit for them. In this case, they would have gotten a $700, $600 piece of equipment that
for sure
they could then turn around and sell or do something with. And they made $600 possibly from would have probably accounted for 20 minutes of their time total. Pulling the scam with you, you know, and just imagine them doing that on a wholesale basis every day with so many other people. That's their game. And they're getting good at it. So, yeah.
And I could see, obviously, they gave me an address that was an apartment. So there has to be at least some person there to accept something. Right. So the other thing is, if doing it overnight means less chance of me kind of going, you know what, I'm going to call the police department in Florida and tell them, here's this address, go check it out before my shipping, whatever. Right. So the idea that, like, go quick, do things fast. But this actually had taken things to an extent that I had not seen before. And I've seen a lot of scams come through, but they're usually easily predictable on the request of, like, hey, I really want this. My uncle's going to be close by for you. Can he come pick it up? I'm just going to give you the money now. Those things, red flag, right? Hey, can I get your cell phone? Because I won't have Messenger from here on. Red flag, right? And I just don't respond to those. But this one, boy, they you can see there's certain scammers that are repeat, like send the same thing, go, and not think about it. And there's others that are kind of committed to it. This person was committed to the scam. They were committed to kind of, laying into, the playing the ruse completely. So
let me ask you too, Brian, impressive. This was all through eBay, right? Or
no, Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace. The trade of money was going to be through PayPal.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So what is this is another thing I think the scammers prey on is I know that they're going to look for people that are selling things, typically higher priced dollar item things.
Yep.
That may not have the richest experience or history of selling things.
Right. That's true.
Because, their thing is they're not going to focus on people that have, like on eBay, for example, people that have, hundreds of sales to their record and all this positive feedback and all these transactions they've done. Those are going to be harder marks for them because it's like, well, this person does this all the time. They probably know what kind of signs to look out for. I hear a lot of them targeting people that are, I've only had 1, 2, or 3 things I've sold on eBay so far, or I'm still fairly new to it. And, but I'm selling a bigger dollar item. That is like prime target for people. So.
And also prime target for someone that did not put that they were willing to ship originally, because that means the person is wanting to do it locally, but it's been sitting and it had been sitting there for a few weeks and not sold. So they're like, ooh, if I come in and do full price and I know it's been sitting and I say I'm going to pay for the shipping, then is that going to turn that person, instead of like me offering shipping? Well, now I know people probably know this is already set up as a structured thing.
That's what I was going to say, is that somebody who says I'm willing to ship or I'm planning on shipping this to somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a little less, they have a little less leeway to kind of mess with you and work you over, where you had no intentions of shipping. They throw that option, they make it appealing. Yep. Now you're having to go through some extra steps that they want you to go through to deal with the shipping side of it.
So here's my advice for people that are selling on Marketplace, because I have sold many things on Marketplace that have shipping in them. You can go and say, I will ship, and you just have to. I typically don't do it on big items because I don't know how much shipping is really going to cost and whether I'm going to get screwed over when I go there. But if you're willing to ship, do it through Marketplace and say, I'm willing to ship. Here's what I'm willing to do. And let them create the shipping label, because then all the money comes through Marketplace as well. Facebook holds it. All that sort of stuff is great. Now, there are the thing about PayPal is, there's some Nikon selling groups on Facebook, and their rules are you are only to sell through PayPal, right? Not through Facebook, because they want to assure that everybody is protected by the same method and that nobody's trying to take advantage. So the PayPal thing with selling a Nikon lens kind of led me to like, oh, this is where this is coming from. This was probably posted on that list, which I think I probably did. So a lot of things. So I would strongly urge people that if you're willing to ship, go ahead and set it up for shipping and protect yourself through whatever method it is. PayPal, Marketplace. If it's PayPal, make it so that you actually see the money has been received or is in holding before you ship. Rather than, it's pending and it's coming, whatever, right? Go ahead and have that before you even head to ship it anywhere. And maybe even work through, like I've done as I said, I've done the Ship Nerd or some of these online where you can say this is the size, this is everything. You go ahead and get the label done, so what you have. It's already been set once they give you the money, rather than then being in a panic and trying to communicate amounts and all that stuff. So you can do a little research in advance. So a lot of things that did not go well for me in that scenario.
I'll tell you, I expected the worst out of the story. Pleasantly surprised with how it did end up. But I know it's tough. I know it was a frustration. I know it was a near call, and I get it. So,
but let me tell you what I'm upset at myself about mostly is that when I went back in, they gave me my box back. They gave me my money back. That I didn't just turn around, take a big bag of dog poop, put it in the box, and ship it anyway.
Oh,
really would have loved to.
You could have done that.
Yeah, I could have. I could have pooped in a box.
I'm more disappointed in you not doing that than anything right now.
If it wouldn't have been $170 to ship it,
that's true.
Then I probably would have.
I mean, it's $170 worth. The thought of knowing somebody getting that package, opening it up, and
$30. I might have done it for $30,
You're right.
And then I would have texted and be like, "Hey, did you get it? Yeah. Did you open it?
Can you send me a picture of like when you open it up to verify it?" Oh, yeah, that'd be funny.
Oh man,
that's a really good idea, because you could have used the same box, used everything, hand it back over to the postal people right then, and
Let me tell you, Alan, as pissed as I was, I could have filled that box. So let me just tell you.
Well, this is a really heavy box for a lens. Jeez. I don't know what's in here.
Open it up and find out.
Oh man. Now I'm just. Oh, I kind of hope I almost nearly get scammed someday so I can pull something like that back on them.
Yep. That's exactly where I wish I would have done it. But all right. Well, let's
just to do a coda off of your scamming thing as a reminder, because I have shared my own scam story in the past. And it's a whole different nature of scam, but just a quick little 30-second reminder to everybody. Another type of scam that has been very, very popular right now and still happening is people ordering gear, especially like camera gear or electronic gear, from a big box store like a Best Buy, then they return it, but they actually put in a different item in the return box, a very similar looking item, but different, not as valuable, lesser quality, smaller model, whatever it may be. And because a Best Buy or other places are not really doing a whole lot of detailed inspection when these boxes come back to them, they're then turning around and reselling them back out to the community. That's what happened to me early this year, trying to get a new camera. I got sent a box that had a different camera body than what was supposed to be inside. And when I tried to return it and let them know about the problem, they accused me of trying to pull a scam on them, which no, it wasn't. I was the recipient of a level down on the scam, unfortunately. I got it resolved. I did not have to end up buying 2 cameras. They refunded the money on the first one. All was good, but I'm still banned from buying anything from Best Buy online right now.
Wow.
I cannot purchase anything with my name, account, my debit card, anything that's associated with me. It automatically comes up as declined and not processed. And the word I've been told is that I'm on a red flag list. So,
well, that's something to feel like proud about,
Yeah, because I tried to buy a big, nice camera from them, and they sent me the wrong camera, and I did the right thing and immediately called them and sent it back to them per their instructions. But yet I'm on the red flag list. So I'm just saying this is a more elaborate scheme that's going on with people, but I'm reading more and more about this happening. So yes, you got to pay attention to those individual scammers, but also watch out for scams happening from trusted places like department stores.
That's crazy.
My recommendation is if you're buying a very a high piece of equipment, a high dollar piece of equipment, have your phone ready. And when the box arrives and you open it up, film yourself opening the box up. Yeah. That is your proof to say, this is the box I received, and this is the item that was inside that box. And as you can see, it is not the right item. That's
good call.
Verifiable proof there that should hold up in any discussion. So, all right. That was it. My little reminder there too. Brian, all right. I have a story that's going to get me frustrated here to counter that. But do you want to do a recommendation first and kind of clear your palate?
to balance things a little?
Or are we just going to jump right into my story?
No, you know what? Let me do a quick recommendation because I'm going to do because I have two. I have two I'd like to recommend. But
why don't you go ahead and hit me with one?
I'm going to hit you with one because it's perfectly timed as to something that might be helpful. So a recommendation I have is something I've been playing around with very briefly over the last couple of days, and I think it's kind of fun. So we've talked a lot about AI and different AI models and different AI chatbots and that sort of thing that are becoming pretty popular these days. Mm-hmm. Alan, let me show you. I don't know if you have tried this Pi, right? Pi.ai before, Pi. Mm-hmm. Pi.ai. Now, so I just pulled up Pi.ai, and I think the very first thing it does is kind of a splash screen and then says, do you want to kind of create a profile, or do you just want to chat? And so I just clicked in there that I just want to chat, right? So, and I did this the other day, and I was actually amazed with how somewhat relaxing it was to chat with this AI bot here, right? So if you notice, right when I clicked on it, says, "Hey there, great to meet you. I'm Pi, your personal AI. My goal is to be useful, friendly, and fun. Ask me for advice, for answers, or let's just talk about whatever's on your mind. What do you like to do in your free time?" So that was its first kind of piece. And then I clicked over on something else like just vent, because it gives you these options on the left. This is the web page for those that can't see it. On the left, it gives you these options. Do I just want to vent? Do I want to learn about something new? Do I want to brainstorm ideas? Do I want to practice a big conversation, relationship advice, whatever? So anyway, let's just look at this really quickly, Alan. So if I go with that first piece that says, what do you like to do in your free time? Let's see. I like to hike, kayak, drink beer, and play darts, right? Which is me. All right. So it says, now that's a solid lineup of hobbies. You've got a nature nature time with hiking and kayaking. You've got your bar time with beer and darts. Pretty awesome balance of adventure and relaxation. Where do you like to hike, and do you favor a kind of beer to unwind with?
Okay.
I like to hike, and this is the interesting part. Watch this. So Forest Park, okay, which is something here in Portland, like a park in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And then unwind with a, let's say, Deschutes Black Butte Porter. Very specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're living the true Oregon lifestyle, right? So they know I'm in Oregon. They start chatting with me about the Deschutes Black Porter is an excellent choice. Dark, rich, and roasty, a perfect post-hike reward. So it's completely like would happen in a real conversation, right? I mean, it's recognizing the things that I'm saying. It's kind of cueing in and going, hey, tell me a little bit more. And I found myself spending like 30 minutes just talking with this person. Like, oh yeah, you like that too? I like to play darts at these places. Oh wow, okay, so you like being on the east side of Portland. All right, blah blah blah, right? Completely, incredibly free flowing and very much like a real conversation. So if you are someone, and of course I'm looking at a lot of the options over here. If you're someone that just needs to chat with someone, I'm certainly not suggesting this is therapy, but like if you're trying to figure out how you should communicate with someone, let's say you're trying to break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend and you want to test it out about how that's going to work. This is a pretty interesting way to kind of practice conversation, maybe even have someone to just, vent about, right? If I said I want to, let's see, I just had a frustrating situation where I was scammed trying to sell a camera lens online. Let's see what they tell me now. Oh no, that's the worst. Online selling scams can be really frustrating.
Oh, bummer.
Look at this. Can you share me some of the details of what happened? Did the buyer not send payment, or did they use a fake check?
I'd like to learn their process so I can emulate it.
Can you give me your bank account number as well so I can check it out?
Exactly what services were used during this transaction process, and can you walk me through exactly step by step what they did?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Like this to me is where the conversation part. There's obviously some scary parts about anything in which a digital conversation is seen as super real. You can imagine where the scamming could be using this type of technology too, but so far it seems incredibly harmless and probably an interesting way to unwind. If you, let's say you get home and you are alone and you would like to chat with someone and but you don't really want to have any sort of true relationship, then here we go. Right now, if you create an account, and I don't know the account, I haven't even looked at it. I don't know if it's a paid account or you just have to put in like who you are and it'll save your chats, but it will remember your conversations. So you've got kind of things that will show up with history, and maybe you start creating your own personality on here and so on. So
Brian, I promise I am listening to you, but I've started chatting with Pi.
Okay. And, what do you got going on?
No, we're totally talking favorite U2 albums, and
Nice.
We're bonding over my love for Octoon Baby, and he's saying some pretty profound things about this. It's kind of emotional right now. So,
and by the way, you can turn on the sound, and it will read to you. Like
it will read them, really?
Yeah, in the top right, I think you can turn on the sound there.
So it's like Zoo TV, what an amazing tour. Bono's outfits, the visual media spectacle. The tour really took concerts to a whole new level. And those U2 songs are just timeless and powerful. Do you have a favorite album? Like, well, yeah, Octoon Baby is my favorite album. Such a masterpiece. That Octoon Baby sound is just so utterly distinctive. And wow, I'm like, yeah. And then he's like,
hey,
gets on
fun,
talking
man.
about, he's like, you could write a thesis on the lyrics to Until the End of the World, which is my favorite song. It's that deep. Oh, and the Edge's guitar work on that record is just chef's kiss. This guy gets me. Okay.
I'm telling you, man, you will feel better about yourself having communicated with this person.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
give
I
it a
can
shot.
actually
See
have
if
it
you
read
can
to
get
me.
it.
Okay.
So I can't remember if it's
I'm
going to
hearing it.
be.
I know
Yeah,
not
you're hearing it.
but
Okay. Yep. So yeah, it'll
it
read.
sounds good.
Yeah, and each one of those is a different voice for those who aren't watching. Right, there's kind of 5 or 6 different voices you can use. But man, I tell you, I have yet to have an experience where I kind of forgot for a second that I was chatting with a bot, because it was like, oh man, they were asking the right questions, they were following up. It was like a good form of communication. So, what do you say? What do you think the song of the world is about? Oh, I love it. Read it.
The question was, hold on, he's still talking to me. I'm going to shut up. I asked him, what do you think the song Until the End of the World is about? I wanted to see how deep I could really get this guy to go. Like, there are so many layers, but here's my take. I think Until the End of the World is about a person struggling with the burdens of temptation, sin, and betrayal, trying to find redemption before it's too late. He's right. It is. The biblical references in the garden I was playing the tart are particularly poignant, with the snake alluding to temptation. Man, this guy's good. The real kicker is the chorus. Until the end of the world, I'll be there for you, which is Bono's pledge to keep striving for redemption and forgiveness no matter what. It's such a powerful, relatable message. Oh,
I'm telling you.
I'm going to need a minute.
You need a minute? You need a minute? Yeah. Okay, now the one thing I haven't done, Alan, so go over to home really quickly on the left over there.
Okay.
And then I don't know, does it change its method of communicating with you based on which you click on? So like if you said, so it's a new one. Okay. So then it's asking you like relationship.
Advice on how to deal with my brother, who can be quite a handful at times. Let's just see where it goes with this. Brotherly love. I know that family relationships can be super complicated and stressful. Tell me more about your brother. What exactly does a handful mean in this case? Is he argumentative, demanding, maybe a bit rebellious?
Yes, no. Yes, and yes.
No, he's just
annoying.
Kind of annoying. And boring. But other than that, I guess he's okay. And he says, okay, so not the most exciting personality, but I'll take annoying and boring over insufferable and obnoxious any day. So let's brainstorm some strategies to make your interactions with your brother a little less grating. Are you able to spend time apart, or do you live together? Oh, God, no. We live all the way across the country from each other. I'd never see him. The classic distance makes the heart grow fonder technique. Well, then this may just be a case of small doses. Maybe short phone calls or even text are the best way to stay in touch.
Okay, so for people who are not watching this, the greatest part is that there are actual emojis that are being placed in the text, right? The laughing emoji in the last 2 texts that have been sent, right? So, I mean, you can see how getting into this becomes like you're just texting with someone, right?
Well, look,
like
and here's the deal, Brian. I'm going to tell you, I have been on the lookout and trying to find a AI chatbot that will talk, like I can hear it voice out it's what it's saying.
You got for your other podcast, right?
With a personality, because podcast or show I produce, we do a podcast where we have an AI co-host, but we've been very disappointed with the personality of these co-hosts, and they just don't seem to really dig what we're talking about or be able to really join in conversations. This is the best I've seen. This is like, I could see somebody having a decent conversation, and the fact that I can hear them talk when they say it is really, really cool. Now, I wonder, the question I have for this before I move on, I know with like Chat GPT and some of these other AI services, there's a time delay, meaning I can't ask Chat GPT about who won a football game this past weekend because it doesn't know. It is like 2 years behind or some sort of interval. the latest Chat GPT version, which is version 4, is a paid model. It is supposed to be more current. I wonder with Pi how current it is.
I don't know. You see down at the bottom the disclaimer there, right? Early version of Pi can make mistakes. Don't rely on this info. And I don't know if it's really made for this or not. So let's see what happens.
I asked, do you know who won the Carolina Panthers game last weekend? We'll just see if I can get something out of this. Okay, he's right.
Was that right?
So no tough one. The Panthers have been on a losing streak lately, meaning they've lost every game they played. According to my research, they lost to the Miami Dolphins last weekend with a score 21-42. Correct. Have you been following the Panthers this season? Are you a diehard fan or just casually interested? Okay, so he is current. He's up to date on some stuff. Not bad.
So
I'm impressed, Brian. This is good.
I am too. Every time I kind of get on here, I'm like, I get lost in the I get a little lost in the conversation. And I just have to tell you, there is one part in there, Alan, if you scroll down, it says, let's see. Yeah, help me write a text message. A text or a message. So I put in, I really want to tell my brother to F off, but I don't want to just say that. And then the response was, totally understandable. Family drama can be intense, but yeah, that's probably a little too direct. Let's come up with something a bit more clever. Can you tell me more about why you're mad at your brother?
So what would be really funny is if you said, your brother's not one that lives all the way across the country and might think that you're annoying and boring, right?
And then eventually Pi says, listen, I'm going to connect you with someone right now. Let's have a session all together, shall we? Brian, meet Alan. Meet Brian. Right?
You guys have some commonalities here you can talk about. So
anyway, really there's my my little
Brian,
advice.
Does not seem to be any kind of pay model on this.
Yeah,
it is free at the moment.
So. Yep.
You just have to sign in, create an account. But I assume if I come back on this account, it will remembered all my messages and conversations, right?
That's what it says. Yeah, it says if you create your account, your Pi account, then you'll be able to save that. So
this is pretty good, man. This is pretty good. Very good. I'm excited. This is a good recommendation, Brian.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me.
Do you want to jump into your drama?
Yeah,
maybe we can TikTok here the drama and picks.
And everybody, this will not be a 30-minute story like my brother's was.
Right.
So I think I told you a few weeks ago, one of my sons upgraded his Apple Watch.
Yes.
And as a nice sign, a gesture, he said, well, here, Dad, why don't you take my Apple Series 7 watch? Which is great because I have a Series 3, which I'm wearing right now. I love this watch. It's been great. It still holds a battery for the day. It's good. But, Series 7 is a bigger watch, bigger face. Obviously, I'd love a little longer battery life because mine I've had for many, many years now. So I'm like, and it's a free watch. So I'm like, awesome. He's like, yeah, the only problem with it, Dad, is that, it doesn't hold the battery just probably, I think it needs to be tweaked or something because it doesn't hold a charge very long. Sure enough, I got it and I started working with it. I'm like,
listener foreshadowing. Alan's still wearing the Apple Watch 3.
That's right. I'm still wearing the original one.
Go ahead, Alan.
My new one is in no shape for me to be able to wear right now. I'll show you in a minute. So he said, you may just want to have the battery looked at. And I went through all my diagnostics trying to see if I could tweak the battery settings, kind of trying to reset the battery charging, everything. And it honestly would die out after 2/3 of the day have passed. And I'm like, well, I know that's not right. So I said, I bet you the battery's just gone bad. So luckily, Apple Watch batteries are not terribly expensive. Okay. This is an Apple Watch battery right here. It's very, very tiny. Most of the ones for like the Series 7 are like $20, $25. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I went to iFixit, which is going to be my brothers and tech suggestion in a minute. iFixit, a website. I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but if we have, I'm bringing it up again. iFixit.com is the website I go to if I'm in a mood to say, I'd like to try to fix something myself, whether it's a computer, whether it's a phone, a watch, tablet, or anything. So I went to iFixit.com and I got detailed instructions on how to put in a new battery. on a Series 7 Apple Watch. So I got the battery. Actually, this is the old battery but I got a replacement for this. Came in the mail. I had ordered it. iFixit actually was out of those particular batteries, so I had to find another source for it. Found a website, had the same price on it, got it shipped to me. But there were some tools I needed to be able to open up my watch. Now, iFixit, when you go to their website, this is a combination Story and Brothers in Tech Suggestion. So they have a whole series, guides for repairing different items. You can go right up to fix your stuff. There are repair guides, and their guides are really, really good. So I looked down, Mac, tablet, phones, desktops, game consoles, whatever you want to try to fix. Mine was under apparel. If I go to apparel, there's smartwatch. I go to smartwatch, and here's all the watches. And I'm looking for the Apple smartwatch. And now there's all the different versions. And there's my Series 7. Like, cool. Go to Series 7, and it tells me, here are the guides I have available. I can either show you how to replace your battery or replace your screen. I started with the battery. I'm to the point now where I'm looking like I'm going to have to follow them onto the screen. But the battery, once you go in, it gives you everything you need to know about how to do this yourself. Okay. It'll show you if it's considered an easy or moderate or hard repair kit or repair time, how much time it may take, and so forth. Then it also shows you a list of what you may need to buy to be able to do this. Now, they tell you, like, first up, the Apple Watch, like the battery you need, there's two different levels. There's a 41 millimeter size, and there's a 45. So you just need to buy one of those. Same thing with the adhesive strip, if you wanted that. Now, some of these tools you may already have. You may already have safety glasses and gloves, a razor blade, all that. One tool that I did not have and I needed to get, and I actually have it here, and I'm kind of making this part of the recommendation too, is the eye opener. And what this is a tool they make. I've got one right here. It is that comes with this whole kit. It's $19.99. And what this little eye opener is this is something that you place in your microwave. You heat up for 30 seconds. It has a gel on the inside. This is what is used. You can put on a phone, or you can put on a tablet or a watch to undo adhesive that is underneath the screen or something else that's keeping it together.
Okay.
On the Apple Watch, there's two levels of adhesive, one keeping the screen in place and then one keeping the battery in place. And it's really hard to just open this up without that adhesive being loosened. So the eye opener is you basically put it in the microwave 30 seconds, and then you lay this down on top of the actual piece that you're wanting to loosen up the adhesive inside of for like a couple minutes. And it does that to where now you can safely open it up. So it's a nice little tool. It's good to have. It came with some other little pieces, as you see on the diagram there, some other tools like some tongs. They call it a spudger, I think, a little thing that helps pry things open. All the tools you would need to kind of get into your watch and start working on it. So I got all those items in, and I went and followed the instructions for doing this. When you scroll down, there's all the detailed instructions on what to do. So showing you exactly what to do. Powering down. Let's pin a note on that step one, because that might have some bearing on the problem I'm facing right now. You see, cutting it open with a razor blade, which I did. Using the eye opener to soften the display adhesive, which I did. Creating a gap, slicing the adhesive underneath it. Then you kind of pry it open with these little triangle pieces that they gave you. Then you're able to swing open the display, and you got to soften the battery adhesive now. So it's the second time using that eye opener. Yep. And that's what it looks like when you get inside. Or if you'd like to see a little more of a clear vision of what this looks like. So this is what you have on the inside. And there you can see there's my screen on one side, my battery on the other. Okay. So I went in and replaced the battery following the instructions. I thought I did everything correctly. Battery goes in. Then I'm realizing there's something a little odd here, is that this is technically the screen, which is kind of a weird surface for the screen. Okay. That is it. But now I'm left with two pieces that I think this little screen was supposed to be on top of that to make it a darker screen.
Yeah.
And then this glass is supposed
Protects
to be
it.
on top of that to make the actual glass screen that you see.
Yep.
However, now my problem is this does not stay on anymore. Something I did has now permanently severed these pieces from the screen. And even though they say that this screen should still turn on and operate once you power up your watch, even if this is not on, mine does not. So I have basically fixed the battery issue. I have now created a screen issue where the thing doesn't work. I know that the watch is working because when I power it up and I actually place it on scan and I just tried pressing, I can feel the haptic feedback underneath it, like if I'm actually operating the watch. It's just I don't see squat on the screen. So I have tried disconnecting the screen, officially disconnecting it from the body, reattaching it. That is still doing nothing. So I'm giving a recommendation for iFixit because I guarantee you their instructions are fine. And the tools I got from them are great. I screwed something up and I don't know what I did. And unfortunately now I've taken what should have been a $20 to $30 fix. It's now looking like if I really want to make this watch work, I'm going to have to replace the screen because I think something is wrong on the screen. The screen is like $130. And so I'm now to the point of saying, okay, this was a free watch, Alan. You're given this. You have put no dollars into the watch itself, except for now this new battery. And do I cut my losses and just say, I'll save up and just get a new watch one day later on? Or do I not accept defeat on this and say, no, I'm going to make this work and find a screen to put on here, not even knowing if that's going to fix the problem. My local Apple repair shop does not work on Apple watches. That's kind of their thing. They don't. So I'm really kind of stuck right now.
Yeah. I mean, I would tell you what brothers in tech really suggest you should do is just go for it. Like, let's make this 2 or 3 more episodes, of you going through and getting frustrated and having some other piece. I mean, I'm expecting eventually you're going to need to replace the, motherboard on this thing, the processor, the memory, I just want to see you replace it all. Actually,
I don't know. I'm frustrated. I love tinkering with technology, Brian, but also it's a love-hate relationship, and that my worst frustrations come from getting to a point like this where I have done my work. I've put in some hours to work on this and I can't get it to work, and I don't have any other resource except to put more money into it, which I do not want to do. Yeah. So that is the pain of a technology nerd.
Just iFixit, I know, has a really, really good reputation, right? It does a great job. Had you heard anyone else that had stressors like this and seen that, and people were mainly saying this was pretty clean and everything works? And
oh no, everybody's loving the guide. Everybody says it's super easy, and I've not found a single person anywhere on the internet who has had this issue where somehow this has become completely severed from that. And I can't find any any reference to it anywhere. Now, the other thing about iFixit, I will say as kind of a continuing on the recommendation here that I do really like is they not only have these step-by-step guides on how to fix anything you may be looking to fix, but they also have, let me see if I can find it, teardowns, which is kind of nice. So basically what this is like, look, if you just want to know what all's in there and all the pieces, you can actually watch a video and see them take it apart, not for a purpose of fixing, just to show you every component inside.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which was something I did after I had this problem. I'm like, okay, well, let me just kind of walk through and see if they mention or show that some element of this, there's a way it works together. And fortunately, it didn't help me in my situation, but still very, very fun to watch. Everything has a repairability score they give it as well, meaning how easy is it to repair. A 10 is the easiest to repair device. A 1 is the hardest, near impossible to repair. So they're saying the Apple Watch 7 was a repairability of 6. That has not been the case for me, but for others, I'm sure it may be. Anyway, I love iFixit. It is a site that I do the minute I feel like I'm going to start to tinker with something, especially an Apple product or any kind of portable technology, I will go here and just see, okay, what's going to be involved if I want to do this? If I want to replace my own battery on my iPhone, what am I looking at? What would be involved? Is this something I could do? Or should I send this off to somewhere to have it done? I do say if people are the kind of people who like tinkering, they like opening things up and figuring out how things work, and they don't mind a little bit of risk you have to take when you do it.
Right.
You will come out cheaper doing this yourself than you would sending it off to a company to do it for you. But you just need to make sure you're somebody who can follow instructions really good. Don't mind working in really, really small areas. I mean, the screws I had to get out of this Apple Watch are microscopic. I mean, honestly, I had to put them on a white sheet of paper when I took them out and just really clearly be able to see them. Otherwise, I would have lost them in a second.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of trade-offs, but I find this to be fun when it works, which it does 9 out of 10 times. This just happens to be the one time it did not. So anyway, iFixit.com is my recommendation.
That's correct.
Both
Okay.
their website and also I do just kind of really love this little tool, the eye opener. It's really not that expensive for the whole kit, like $19 to get the whole set. And that will help with your iPhone, Apple Watch, even an iPad if you had to do some repairs on it. This allows you to open those things up a lot easier. So that's my recommendations and my troublesome story. So,
well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I was anxious to hear because I knew you were diving in, and it's certainly something I've thought about with a Series 3. I have a 4, I think, that the battery life starts to get to where I maybe can't make it through a full day. I'm like, oh, could it be worth just an upgraded battery? But yeah, that scares me. What mostly scares me is doing that. I feel good about trying that, especially if it's a watch that I don't feel like I can do anything else with unless I, were to tinker with it. What I get nervous about is like losing the waterproof capabilities, right? Not sealing it well, all that sort of stuff.
No, that's a very good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's the number one question people have when talking about repairing Apple Watches is, do you lose any waterproofing? And they're pretty clear online and on iFixit saying, look, we can't guarantee you're still going to be able to keep it waterproof after that because you are prying open something, and we guarantee you that you at home are not going to have the same devices to seal up that watch like the Apple plant did that made it. So you do have to kind of accept that, look, I'm not going to be able to put this in the water. Look, I don't ever put my watch currently in the water. I just don't. I don't trust it. I'm sure it would be fine. I just don't do it. So I'm already used to not doing it. This is to me still a free watch that I was given. So if I got this repair working, yes, I'll just won't put it in water and I'll be fine.
Sure. Yeah.
But I have to have it working first. I don't know if you realize, Brian, a watch, any watch really, Apple is only as functional as you being able to actually see anything on the screen.
I haven't thought about that before.
It's really just kind of a glorified armband, and that doesn't quite justify the technology and the cost of it originally. So
have you thought about taking a Sharpie and just painting on a random time? All the time there's something there. Yeah. It's 5 o'clock.
Look, Alan Jackson, that's my, my country singer doppelganger. That's his song. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I can say, look,
there you go.
See, it's 5 o'clock.
There you go. Yeah.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, Brian. Well, I'm tapped out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Let
me finish on something a little bit more positive here. So I want to share one more thing, just a little app that I've been using and surprisingly have been very happy with. So, Alan, I don't know if you've used Artifact before. Artifact. So Artifact, you can see it over here on one of my screens. So Artifact is a news reader, which I've been into before. I like Google News was always really good, but it always ended up leading me to lots of paywalls and all sorts of stuff. And I don't use Apple News because I don't pay for that. So I've always been looking for something where I could read news, but I really wanted the app itself to have some effective features for me to be able to read things later, be able to save things. So I came across this Artifact, and so as you see, it looks very similar to, I don't know, even like a Twitter, where you might have different categories of things that you want to read. it's mostly articles. So when you set it up, when you go in and it says, tell us your likes, right? Like most news readers will do, tell us what you're interested in, and we'll create different areas from that. But here's some of the cool things that I really like here, Alan. So let me show you. If I click on, let's just say I click on this second article, this Apple Insider article. So for one, it comes up and it really looks nice, right? It does a nice kind of reader view of this article. And so I can, at this point, I can save the article for later, just like you would anything else. I can bookmark it and say, I want to read it later. It'll save it in my save list. But what I like is up top, Alan, you see there's a couple of buttons there. One's the play button. So you're not going to be able to hear this, but I can click the play and it's reading me the article right now, which is really nice, right? Mm-hmm. So if I click on this like you would any other kind of music app or podcasting app, I can scan forward. I can also, scroll back and forth. I can change the speech to be a different speed. I can change it to a different voice, right, as to what I'm using, which is kind of nice. I can also go up here and you see the stars up top there. So if I click on those, it will use AI to give me a little summary of the article, which is kind of slick too, right? Say you come across a really long article and you just want to know, like, is this really what I want to be reading? So you can click on the AI. You can also click on the 3 dots there and say, explain it like I'm 5. So it gives me a much simpler way to understand this article. You could say I can also make it a poem based on this. I don't know why it does that, but I haven't tried this part yet. But
a little gimmicky, but it's funny.
Yeah, there's the poem that tells me about this article, right? Yeah. So I can go through, and then as you see here, I can also view the writer. I can view more articles from the writer, which is really nice. I can dislike it, of course, to say, don't show me more of these, change the font size out, that fun stuff. And then when I go back to the list, what I also really like, which a lot of them will do, is it grays it out to show that I've already read that one. Yeah, right. Nice. Which I really love that. Super slick. So as you can see, it's still got the play at the bottom. So even I could go to an article, come back and search while I'm still listening to the article back in the background, which is kind of nice.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So this is a like an Apple News type device where you go and tell it interest. You tell it interest areas, and it's pulling news sources for you.
Correct.
This is not where you go in and give it feeds.
You can
news sources. You can't put in manual.
So I'm gonna click over here, and I'm gonna go to my profile into the settings gear. And I can tell it my content preferences. I can block certain publishers. I can manage my paid subscriptions. So if I actually have paid subscriptions to some of these, I can click them on, which is nice. When I don't have them, which is also nice, that I don't get a lot of these paywalls because I'm not subscribed. This is where you can manage your subscription. Manage your interest. So it does allow you to go and kind of tweak what you're seeing, based on certain types of sources and making sure that that's there. You'll see that, obviously this has, just like it would on maybe a Twitter or something like that, or X, right? That you can go and see what are the headlines right now. You can also post things. That's the other part. It tries to make it more social, where you're saying, let me post this other article that I just read and say that I'm promoting it now. Or, you could take a poll, you could do something. I haven't done any of that. I did like this link section, which was kind of nice too. And it just pulls up a bunch of links that it thinks of interesting that are coming in some of the other articles. So you can go straight to, see what's happening right now. So far it's really, really slick in terms of the app itself, the way it works, being able to like things, being able to listen to the playback of things, being able to get a quick summary of things. So far, I always judge these by how nice the app looks, and then how well it functions and meets kind of the way I like to read things. And this is certainly the nice. I'm trying to stay away from readers that will take me to a bunch of paywalls. I want to be able to block certain publishers or certain content providers that I don't have access to and I'm not paying for, because I hate to get there, read half the article, and then it says, "Oh, by the way, you've exhausted your, one per month that we're going to give you." So far, this has been really good and allows me to kind of tweak things in. So I'm going to keep playing with it. I have not checked. I just noticed the notification up there at the top. What is that? So I could turn on notifications about, I'm guessing, let's do that and see what it's giving me.
So
no activity yet. So I could tell it, I'm assuming, I guess that would be comments on my posts, my likes, that sort of stuff. But I was thinking maybe, things that I may want to be notified about might be able to come through.
All right. So let me clarify my question a little bit. But if I had a website that I wanted to follow the news from, and this isn't one where I could go in and put in manually a news source and say, hey, show me the news from there. And the only reason I ask is there's kind of two different news readers out there right now. There are the ones that are going to pull in stuff for you like Apple's news does, or it sounds like this does, which is great. I think most people want that, not have to go and find news sources and go and get every single one. I use a news reader called News Explorer, which is a little different in that you have to actually go in and tell it the news pages,
the news source
website you want to follow. And it pulls news sources, news articles from there and kind of mixes them together into a digest you can read. So it's just two different styles of how you want to read news. If you want the news to come to you based on your interest and not have to worry about what source it's getting it from necessarily, this looks really good. If you know the sites you go to, if there's like a dozen sites, this is where you like to read your news. It's Wired News. It's the New Republic news site, whatever it may be.
And that would just be an RSS reader, right?
That's
that you're just telling it,
basically.
Here's where I want the links.
But it's formatted.
No, this is one where it chooses the sources, which I prefer because I don't like to limit to certain sources, right? If I do, I'll use their app. But no, this is an aggregator. But I think it provides a little bit of social elements to it. There is comments that can be read on there, which is kind of nice. For right now, I'm using this for my news, but I'm using obviously Threads is what I'm on right now for the social aspect of hearing people's comments on things, which I'm trying to keep the balance of two things rather than just going to a social media thing to be my news, which is what I was doing with Twitter before and became a nightmare. So far so good. And like I said, what I love is just the cleanliness of the look, and I love how it grays out what I've already read, so I don't have to click into something again. I know I haven't been on it enough now to know like how much do I need to massage it in terms of liking things, in terms of, commenting on things and how that changes the algorithm. But so far, so good. So
awesome.
That's Artifact.
Let me put that up on the banner just so people on the video can see. Artifact is the name of the app that Brian just recommended. So cool.
Correct.
So we had on our recommendations the website ifixit.com as well as the mobile app Artifact for kind of a news aggregator, news reader for you. That's our recommendations. And then, of course, the rest of the episode was just us ranting about things, pretty much. Brian almost got scammed out of a pretty big purchase or big item. I have completely demolished an Apple Watch that probably worked fine before I got a hold of it, and now I've taken it to a point where I don't think.
Or did your son really just want to really mess with you and put you down a spiral?
No, look, I wore this Apple Watch for a couple weeks when he first gave it to me. It was working, other than the battery just running out so quickly. So that was the thing. No, it was pretty much when I sliced this thing open. I think the razor blade, I might have not been as careful with the cutting around it, and I might have done some other things. I don't know. Something happened, and my watch is now dead or not functioning as a watch anymore. So
maybe you should talk with Pi and see like what Pi thinks you ought to do at this point, and see like, should you mail it in? Should you give up? Should you not give up?
Okay. Well, hold on. Let me see if Pi has Weigh the pros and cons of a decision. That sounds like the kind of tactic I want to take here.
Let's do it.
I'm going to say, what's the decision you're facing? Well, Pi, I was gifted an Apple Watch recently and noticed the battery ran out quickly.
Yep.
So I opted to buy a new battery and then took it upon myself to open my Apple Watch and try to replace it. However, now after doing that,
this is very detailed.
That my Apple Watch screen no longer comes on. Should I abandon my efforts to repair this watch, or should I invest in a new screen to further my attempts to make this work? Okay.
Yeah, I was really just hoping you would type in like, should I or should I not, and just see if it would do like a magic 8-ball. But
okay, here we go. He says, "Oh my, Alan, sounds like a case of DIY gone awry. Opening an Apple Watch is a risky endeavor. It's like trying to perform open heart surgery on a microchip. I don't want to be a wet blanket, but given your current situation, I'd say your best bet is to cut your losses. Replacing the screen on an Apple Watch can be a complex and pricey endeavor, and there's no guarantee it will fix the issue." He's right. He's absolutely right. You might be better off using the money for a new watch. It would probably be less of a headache. God, he gets me. I'm
telling you, Pi's there. I may actually see if there's a way I can put Pi in my menu bar so it's just there all the time, right? Just go ahead and chat throughout my day. I'd like to chat with them a lot more than I do.
In all seriousness, that answer, it was, right. It's not a cookie cutter answer. It was, it had a logical point to it. And they even said there's no guarantee it'll fix the issue, which he's right. I don't know if that's going to fix the issue. God, Pi gets
Pi is a lot smarter than we are.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep Pi open in a window on my computer all day.
I'm telling you, that's. I think that's the key. Yep, I do have another. I have another pick I can give in the future that allows you to do that. By the way, keep a website in your menu bar so you can just kind of quickly open it up each time you want. But no, I think it's good. Yeah, I like it. Yep.
Okay. Well, that is like bring down Artifact. So Pi.ai is the winner of this episode.
Yeah.
Good recommendation. Well done. And already helping me out with my life.
Awesome.
So it's great. All right, Brian, I think that wraps us up. We have ranted and recommended enough. What's the deal? If somebody wants to chat with us or talk to us, what do they do?
Yeah, send us an email at info@themesh.tv. Yeah. And if you've got some experiences, some advice for keeping the scammers away, or for fixing a watch, or for ways of having advice through a website, or if you happen to know who won the Virginia Carolina game over the weekend that you could kind of let me know about. I don't know who that was. Alan, do you know?
No, I'm pretty sure we didn't play this weekend.
Okay. Well, I can tell you didn't play very much. But then send us an email. And you can also go to our website, which I think Alan's been working on, but I don't know, at www.brothers-in-tech.com, and find out previous episodes. And
the Brothers in Tech website at least has all episodes up in there right now. I'm still making a few more adjustments, but I mean, if you just want to listen to any old episode, it is there. I'm basically just having to go through and add the video to a lot of those episodes so people can see the video side if they want to watch the video instead of playing the audio side.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I'm setting it up to where we can just go in and make some more regular posts and make the website more than just showing our video and audio podcast, and be a little more interactive. But nice. In the meantime, still, you want to check out any old episode, Brothers in Tech, brothers-in-tech.com is where to go. So,
yep.
All right.
All right.
We'll wrap it up then. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brian. Good talking to you.
I'm going to go and chat with Pi, my new best friend. So,
I am too.
yeah.
I mean, I wonder if Pi talks with
about
other
us?
Pi about us behind the scenes. Like, there's this guy that came in with this problem.
Keeps
Can
complaining.
Can you believe he's trying to fix his own Apple Watch? That is near stupid.
Jeez.
So, yeah, anyway. All right. Gotta roll. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.